most people agree that the 5+11 model is the one that makes the most sense for the 16-team playoff we expect to see in 2026. Let's talk about why the SEC is impeding that, what the Big Ten has to say about that, and yeah, you're going to get fined. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round, so if you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Which do you think will come first? Either an SEC team is going to get fined $500,000, or we're going to get to the 5+11 model that most people agree with. I'm willing to go with either one of these. And let's start with the fines because that's the most fun to talk about. So one of the things that happened at the SEC spring meetings, which, by the way, had news every single day this week, kudos to y'all for going down to Destin, Florida, and then feeding the college football machine, is that we find that there's now an escalator to on the field storming of football and basketball games, okay? You'll remember, after Vanderbilt upset Alabama, they stormed the field. It cost them $100,000. $100,000 they had to pay to Alabama. I think they do it again. I think they would do it again and again and again. I don't think it's Cornelius Vanderbilt's university, y'all. It ain't as if they ain't got the loot, okay? It ain't as if they're sneezing about what $100,000. If they beat Bama again, I would expect them to storm the field again. They do this against Georgia. I expect them to storm the field. They do this against LSU. I expect them to storm the field. All of this, I think, is within their purview, all right? We also get the escalator. So now if you do it twice, it's a $250,000 fine. Okay, all right. And now if you do it a third time, it's $500,000 or the same amount of money Nebraska going to play Houston Christian to come beat up on later this year. $500,000 field storming. On top of $250,000 and $100,000 that you already paid, that's probably going to go, not probably, is going to go to the other school, right? This is so that they try to deter fans from storming the field after big upset wins. Now, after the Tennessee-Alabama win, we got to see Tennessee storm the field. They pay Alabama $100,000 too. I thought that was funny. But I'm also looking around at this going, that ain't my money. I'm not paying the fine. This is not me speeding and the cops going, hey, we got you for speeding. Now you got to go pay this ticket. No, it is me being caught for speeding and the city got to pay that ticket. I'm here for that all day. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to stop speeding. If anything, I'm doing 110 everywhere I got to go. If for no reason, then I have more fun doing 110 and it ain't going to be me. If I get pulled over, I ain't got to pay the bill. It don't go on my record. Don't go on my points. I'm just a fan having a good damn time. There are a lot of stupid rules we got in college football, a lot. And we're trying to clean up as many of them as we can. But this one's got to be real stupid. Like, what do you think that the programs are going to do? They're going to do what they've been doing, which is post up, my man making $750 an hour, wearing a yellow event t-shirt or polo if they feel, or you know what? If you've been there for 5-7 years, you might get a jacket. You might get you a high yellow, high-vis jacket. And you get to stand there and say, halt, as this frat boy will run right by you. You get to say, no, don't do that, as this white girl go flying by you onto the field. You get to say, hey, stop throwing bottles on the field, as they continue to throw bottles on the field. Because, A, you ain't no cop. You a rent-a-cop. You're not even a rent-a-cop. Dog, you get paid to stand here. And you know this, right? No disrespect. No respect to the person doing that job, right? It's a job. Everybody got to have one. But the idea that you think that those folks are going to be an impediment to somebody that paid upwards of $200 to get into seats at the 50-yard line and then tell them they can't storm the field? No. You're going to need more than that. You're going to need riot police out there. And nobody want no riot police at no football game, okay? So what else you going to do? Hey, fans, they come over to intercom. We would really appreciate if you would stay seated as Vanderbilt has upset the number one team in the country at home, and their name is Alabama. You have a better chance. You have a better chance of preventing me from storming that field over here in Tulsa. And I wanted to. I was in it for him. I was with it for him. You got a chance to do that. When you stand out on television, it's like, you lucky I can't do nothing from over here. You know what I'm saying? It's like winning the Formula One Grand Prix. It's like winning your first Formula One Grand Prix and not doing donuts. Nah, dog, I'm doing donuts. Engineer's like, hey, chill out on the engine. We need this engine steady. I don't give a damn. I want a Formula One race. You know how many people get to say that? You're not going to be able to prevent any of us from acting buck wild and crazy. We taking that gold post, we throwing it in the river. Okay? We staying up all day, all night. It is about to be a story that we tell our grandchildren. And you think you're going to prevent that by finding the school? Maybe it's just if they're playing four-dimensional chess over here, maybe it's just a grift, right? Maybe this is how you continue to throw money back into the pot from the revenue distribution. But, name, image, and likeness, all this money got to go to somewhere. Maybe that's what you're doing, trying to find some funny ways to wash through some more money, because that's all I can come up with on this. But I did think it was entertaining. And like Alonzo reading the paper in front of Jake, it does entertain me, okay? Even if I think it's 100% BS, which is also how I got to take Greg Sankey talking about any model that doesn't include at least 4 bids to his SEC. Feels like BS. It's what he wants. We all know it's what he wants. We know that we think the Big Ten is in favor of the 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 or whatever, right? All this arithmetic we got to get to being the best 16 teams in the country. While the ACC, the Big 12, so forth, so on, continue to say, hey, this is lopsided. To which the Big Ten and the SEC go, tough. We told y'all we would be forced to do something different if you didn't give us majority control over this format. And now we have majority control over this format and we intend to use it. Problem they're running into now is that you and I, being the public, we don't like no 4 plus whatever. We want a 5 plus 11 if we got to do anything at all. I want the best 16 teams in the country, right? That's what I want. I think that's what you want too. Like, that's really the take here is, okay, how do we get to 5 plus 11 in 2026 and when can it happen? Because one of the things that we wanted to see the SEC do in response to this was do their schedule in agreement with the Big Ten, add that +1 to your schedule every single year, because that does one of two things, right? It does two things at once. You get a 9th Power 4 conference team on your schedule that you have to play, so you get to get rid of one of those cupcakes, and you get to that mythical 9th SEC game that we all want you to play. Now, in a perfect world, you play 9 SEC games and that Big Ten team for me, and then you can have your 2 to do whatever you want. But many SEC programs don't want to do that because that's perhaps 2 more losses on their resume, which would make them like the rest of us. Same thing with the Big Ten. Okay, difference is the Big Ten ain't got that problem about how many people they play. And we don't argue about just how many teams from the Big Ten need to get in. We only do this about the SEC because the SEC loves its football. Loves its football. There is no other sport, right? And I always say that about playing college football in the South. That's why if I was raised on the West Coast, I don't know that I'd be the college football fan I am. But because I'm raised in what is culturally the South, we play college football here. That's what we live and breathe. That's what we love. And that's what we're going to take care of. To the point of Tennessee is the program that says, oh, you want to hold us ransom? Cool, kick rocks. We'll go pay somebody else. After we paid you $350,000, Nico Iamaleava, in high school just to sign. You're on a 3-year, $8 million deal because we want to win. And that is what Greg Sankey's trying to do. He's trying to put his conference in position to win. I get this. But I really want to know where Tony Petitti and the Big Ten stand on this because they've been very quiet as we've been doing all this talking about what the SEC would like to do and how they would like to see it done and what the Big 12 and the ACC would like to do and how they'd like to see it done. Brett Yormark actually got out in front and did a great job of standing on business when he says, look, we're going to battle. These commissioners and I, we're coming to play, right? We're going to argue. That's okay. That's what we're supposed to do. This is healthy. We all want the same thing, which is the best 16 teams in, and we want it to be fair how those teams are selected. So what we're really arguing about is the power that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee has. And there is nobody that likes how much power that committee has in who they pick to play in the playoff and how they rank the teams. This has nothing to do with the people in the room is what they will tell you, but it has everything to do with the people in the room because they chose to be in there. It's also an easy committee to beat up on. It's like beating up on the NCAA. It's easy. For you, it doesn't really matter who's in the room. It matters that you don't get to make the decision. And I say this about my colleagues often enough. As a guy who makes a top 25 that is routinely the most read thing at foxsports.com, I want the scoreboard to do the ranking. I don't think that talking heads or coaches or SIDs doing the USA Today poll on behalf of their coaches or a committee should have final say over these things. But we've come to a point where we don't trust the scoreboard. And we've been shown that sometimes we can't, right? So a Boise State who puts together a great one-loss season is not good enough to play with a Penn State. And you get to see that bear out, right? I want to create a system where those teams get in too. Now, we'll also have SEC fans claim that they don't like football. That's what I got. They don't like football because then we don't need this many games. I'm sorry. Since when do we want less football? Who among us wants less football? I always tell people I had the longest offseason and the shortest season in sports. And the thing that SEC fans want to tell me, the things that people say, hey, we only need 4 teams in a playoff. We only need 1 national championship. Dog, you want less meaningful football? Get out of here. I can't with that. I can't take you seriously. You're no longer a football fan to me. You are a person who's a fan of the SEC. That's not the same damn thing. I want to see football. And you know what? I want to see these matchups I would never see. I never see Boise State and Penn State. Never. I got to see that. I got to see the best tailback, statistically, in football last year go at one of the best defenses in football last year. And, he went for $130, and for him, that's getting held in check. Think about getting held in check and going for $130. My goodness. So now we're trying to get to the best 16 teams, which is what everybody outside the SEC would tell you that they want. And some folks inside the SEC, but if it means that they don't get a Alabama in, who lost to Michigan, who lost to Oklahoma, they're going to pitch a fit because SMU gets in. That's what we're talking about. I think we're going to get to the 5+11 because if you are the SEC, you got to believe that you're going to get a bunch of those at-large bids, but they don't trust the committee. They don't want to leave it up to the committee's control. They want a safety net that says you have to rank these teams from this conference in this bracket. We don't care where, we don't care how. And now that we got the straight seating, we'll also know that that's out of their decision-making because that was the thing that I really wanted to see change from last year. And I think many people would agree. The committee could manipulate who played whom and where because not every game was structured so that we got like team for like team. I'd also like to see more home games across the board, especially in that first round and even in the second round. I realize that there are a bunch of people that think that we need these bowl games, but that's part of this that I think you could do away with. And as far as the playoff is concerned, you want to play the Rose Bowl, fine. You want to make it a part of the college football playoff, it needs to bend, right? Sugar Bowl, same difference. There are things that the granddaddy of them all is one of those things that people don't want to lose, right? I get it. But in as far as playing the Fiesta Bowl as a quarterfinal, in as far as playing, some of these lesser bowls, Orange Bowl, it's not a lesser bowl. Let me back up here. These aren't lesser bowls. Any bowl game in a quarterfinal, I'm just not going to be here for. I would like to see the home field advantage be a thing that we get to carry into until we get to, say, a conference championship game like the NFL, where the AFC, even in the AFC, you get to host that, don't you? NFC, you get to host that. Yeah. So I can make an argument, I think, that we would all like to see what it would look like if Ohio State or Alabama or Georgia got to host their games all the way up to the national championship game. That'd be fun. But that also looks a lot more like the NFL, and the thing that college football would say it has going for it is its pageantry and its bowls. But when its bowls are outdated, like the NCAA is outdated, you have to do something different. I think this is an example of that. So I think we're going to get to the 5+11. I think we're going to see a team find $500,000 before we do. But after that, could be fun. I mean, they still play 24 teams in the FCS, and I'd like to see us get to 24 teams, but let me stop at 16 for the time being because I think 16 is a good number.